When I entered into social media, a lot of people just tell me that I'm going to face a lot of negativity. And I want to prove them wrong. So what I basically did is put up a positive post. I kind of just wanted people to send me a post with their state and the Hug Revolution on it. And before I knew it, I had Africa, I had India, every state in the United States. And we've grown on Facebook and through social media into a very big movement. And we do a lot of little things to help people. And now we're doing something really big to help people. Steven Tyler is a superstar in the music world. What people don't know about him, or maybe some do and some don't, is that he's got a humongous heart. And this is something that he holds very near to him. And we just came up with a little slogan that the way to Steven's heart is through his charity, and that's Janie's Fund. So luckily, Steven hooked me up with some people from his charity who are all great. And they are backing this concert. They're backing the Hug Revolution. Again, I'll show you the shirt. It's just two people hugging, and it's an act of kindness. And what we're doing at this concert, we're very excited about it. It's at Untermeyer Park in Yonkers, which is an amazing, amazing park. I mean, it's beautiful just to come and walk around. August 27th from 7:30 to 9. 4 bands from my record label, one being my band, The Bourbons. Raymond's going to come in, and he's going to introduce us, and we might even jam. We're leaving that open. And we are going to have a great time. We're bringing rock and roll back to Yonkers because basically this is where the greatest frontman in rock and roll history grew up. And, you know, we have to embrace that. And basically we're just going to, this concert is going to be all about raising awareness for Janie's Fund and the Hug Revolution, which is fully embracing each other, and we're arm in arm in this act of kindness of just helping young girls. So, again, my band, The Bourbons, will be there. We're so excited to perform. The Hug Revolution is going to be giving away about $1,000 worth of free stuff. So I guarantee you this much: if you come to the concert, you're going to leave there with a hug mug, okay? Because nothing beats a warm embrace and a hot cup of coffee in the morning and a smile on your mug. And you're going to see a great show. And we're bringing a great concert to Yonkers, Untermeyer Park, 7:30 to 9. Be there.
Well, here we go. We're at 100 Pembroke Drive. This is where Steven Tallarico, back then he was Steven Tallarico. This is where he was brought up. He was born in Riverdale, but he moved over here. I live around the block on Mountaindale Road. And, you know, what happened was we met down the lake over here. We were just talking about this the other day. I was down in Washington with him the other day on his out on a limb tour. And we were talking about the lake when we were down the lake. And I was relating some experiences that we had when we first met. You know, and even though it's been a long time, you know, there's still cherished memories. And what happened was, you know, basically, you know, his father was the music teacher over at Cardinal Spellman High School for like 40 years. So Steven has a strong musical background. My mother played mandolin in the band when she was when she was a youngster. So there's a little bit of music in my background, not as strong as his, but we were naturally attracted to each other because we had that same kind of craziness inherent in our DNA. So we were naturally attracted to each other. You know, and what happened was, you know, we both started bands, and he was in like a Beatle band because his father has his formal training. I was in like a Rolling Stone band. You know, we really didn't play that well, but we looked a lot better than they did. So we got just as many girls as they did. So that was what it was all about. It was all about girls and music back then. You know, and right down the bottom over here, in that window right there, that's where we used to rehearse. And that's where he rehearsed with his bands, and, you know, and I rehearsed with him. Because before we had bands, we used to play together. I was a drummer, and he was a guitar player back in the old days, and we'd go down to the Bronx and play in my father's bar down there and play a few songs here and there. And then when his father decided that he wanted Steven to be a former musician, he sent him to a place called Westchester Workshop, Drums Unlimited, and Steven became a drummer. So now he's a drummer, I'm a drummer, we both can't be drummers. I gotta learn how to play the guitar, and that's how this whole thing evolved, man. And we had different bands for years and years and years, and finally when everybody grew up, you know, and like normally they became doctors and lawyers and, you know, Indian chiefs or whatever, we decided to do with the music. And what happened was most of the guys in our bands, their parents wouldn't let them be musicians. So we wound up back together again, and we decided to move up to Boston, where I was opening up a business, and we started Aerosmith up there. And Steven knew Joe Perry from New Hampshire. He went up and got Joe. I moved into Boston. They came down to Boston, and that's how we started the band. And that's basically the history of how Aerosmith started. I was involved with the band musically for about 2 years. I left. I wasn't happy what was going on, you know, and I left, and I moved out. And about a year later, they got a contract, and they started doing albums and stuff. Steven called me back, told me he wanted me to come back to Boston and work for the band again. I said no. They did a second album. He called me again. I was bored. I said yes. I came back down to Boston, and I started. My first job was the greatest job in the world. I got paid to hang out with them, and that worked out for about 6 months until the crew said, "Hey, Ray's not doing anything. You know, how come we got to work and he don't? He makes more than we do." So Steven goes, "Ray, you got to do something." So I started doing the backstage area. I worked out the contract for them for the backstage area. I developed the merchandise. I developed the logo for them, and I was doing their merchandise for years and years and years. I built the warehouse. We had a big fan club. We had a lot of fun. Things were great. Too much sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and the whole thing kind of crumbled. I left. Joe left. Brad left. You know, and the band kind of like fell apart for a while. But then they everybody got themselves straightened out. Everybody got back together again.